Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir et bienvenue sur Chercher qu'on est. Comme nous remarquons, certains derniers, depuis quelques semaines, n'ont pas apparaît en show neuf. Ça parce que l'heure a été fait une défaut dans le sens. Et comme nous connaissons, nous avons cherché qu'on est, comme à la dîner, le jeudi de 1h à 3h PM. Mais nous pensons que l'important de temps à autre pour nous présenter un programme valable. Côté nous allons porter un peu d'informations pour nous qui s'est passé ici, une information qui a aidé dans la décision qu'on a prise. Et c'est dans le contexte, ça un grand plaisir de me recevoir dans le studio aujourd'hui Steve White, qui est un peu là nous connaît comme activiste, éditeur de Power of 10 email newsletter and so many other things que monsieur fait. Alors, monsieur a parlé, il n'a pas parlé des primaires de pour l'un qui est dans East Ramapo et nous comptons depuis des temps. Monsieur involved dans la bataille ça et sans peut tarder, je vais présenter un bon monsieur qui a parlé avec nous, qui a plus de détails. Et Steve,
Michel,
comment vous allez?
Merci, pas plus mal.
C'est un plaisir que nous gagnons aujourd'hui dans le studio. Nous.
Bien content d'aujourd'hui avec parler.
It's been a while. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Tout bas en forme. Donc, je connais aujourd'hui primarily pour faire East Ramapo School District qui sont long battle, going back years.
Long time, yes.
And time on update nous plus ou moins dans ce qui a passé dans le district ça.
Oui, nous faisons un pile changement dans l'année 2015 là. On a commencé en 2016 et puis nous avons l'autre bataille qui est devant nous. Mais il faut nous réfléchir, il faut nous regarder dans l'année qui passait. Là, nous avons commencé en année 2015 là. Nous avons commencé, nous avons Superintendent of Schools qui relève Joel Klein. Nous avons un avocat pour le district là qui relève Albert D'Agostino. Nous avons un school board qui a gagné 9 membres qui mettaient tête ensemble pour faire ça qu'ils ont besoin de faire, pour faire ça qu'ils voulaient faire. Et puis,
la composition board là, si je ne me trompe pas, il y a une majorité hassidique,
oui.
Jew.
Oui.
Et une minorité, je ne sais pas combien, peut-être 3, sans après les côtes non hassidiques.
Exactement.
On dit, mais mettez tête ensemble quand même, regardless que originaux.
Oui, ça veut dire nous pas appuyer au monde pour cette ethnicité monde ou bien nous pas contre monde parce que c'est na qui idéal qui ça veut faire pour district là pour tout monde c'est pour ça n'a regarder. So capable go monde quand c'est un monde qui haïtien qui vient là s'il pas veut ça bon pour communauté haïtienne nous pas capable d'accord avec. Capable bon monde qui vient sont hassidique monde qui gagne un bon cœur qui voulait faire bon bagage pour Timonio, faut nous aider le tout.
Mais jusqu'à maintenant est-ce que nous hassidique gagne un bon cœur dans ça?
So ou pas jamais connais. Moi-même travaille pour Rockland County Department of Health. Okay. So chaque jour je travaille avec toute qualité, je travaille avec latino, je travaille avec hassidique, je travaille avec haïtien, je travaille avec américain noir et puis quand je travaille avec maman, papa, timoun, moi tout le monde accueille yo timoun et puis yo veut pour timoun yo capable en santé pour yo capable jouir la vie yo. So tout le monde net white people, black people inside they're all the same. But we have to judge them by their actions. So, but when you're talking about the composition of the board, faut nous veiller, nous gagnons 95% de monde qui dans l'école yo, c'est monde qui African American, qui latino, qui haïtien, un pile haïtien là-dedans. So, c'est tout normal pour nous capables de gagner majorité qui dans school board là, yo semble avec ti monde qui dans l'école là, c'est tout normal. Et le joindre plus fort monde qui dans contrôle l'école, c'est pour pas sembler avec monde qui servait avec l'école là. Qu'on y a là, ça faut regarder en l'autre fois pour qui ça, les comme ça, et est-ce qu'elle bien servi Timonio.
Mais on dit en 2015 là, bon, nous retiré avocat d'Agostino.
D'Agostino.
Nous voyons superintendent aller.
Nous voyons aller.
What's his name again?
Klein.
Klein. What's next?
Qu'on y a là, nous besoin pour l'État New York pour venir voir un monétaire sur le district là qui est capable de veiller tout ça qu'il a fait dans le district là et puis il est capable de contrôler si on fait un bagage qui pas dans l'intérêt de l'Union pour être capable de contrôler ça dans le moment où on fait.
On parle de moniteur, oui, c'est bon. Nous avons moniteur déjà.
Oui.
On parle de moniteur veto power.
Monitor with veto power.
Veto power meaning what? Can we get into the details?
Ça veut dire quand on a dans Lakewood, New Jersey. Gon monitor with veto power. Yo gon district dans Lakewood, New Jersey qui a presque même problème avec.
Opposition avec Boise, OK.
Exactly.
I heard about it.
Et New Jersey changé règlement yo, changé loi yo pour yo capable permettre au moniteur qui a veto power pour capable suivre l'argent cap dépensé dans district ça. Et puis ça monsieur il joint un paquet l'argent qui était supposé payer pour professeurs, pour tout le monde qui est dans l'école publique, et puis l'argent ça a dépensé pour service pour tout le monde qui est dans l'école privée.
Comment qui a dit attention, on regarde demande ça, de moniteur qui l'a déjà. Un rapport des affaires qui est troublement pile. À savoir que les femmes connaissent que transportation cost. Isramapo, second only to New York City school district transportation cost.
Yeah. La vérité,
it is very troubling.
It's very troubling. The money for...
Because par contre, si mon boy s'est réalisé que the New York City school has over 1 million students compared to East Hamapo, which has how many? About 9,000?
We have about 9,000 in the public school. We also have about 20,000 in the private school. So altogether, it's almost 30,000
Okay, let's say 30,000. You're still talking about 1 million students. They don't all go to use the bus in New York City. I know that for a fact. They use the subway. But still, there's cost involved. They take the subway. It's transportation. It's where all that money goes.
That's a very, very good question. The other part of that side of that question is
We're
a lot
looking
of
at a district with 40,000 students versus a district with 1 million. It's troubling.
That's right. That's why the monitor called it out. The monitor looked at it and said, this is something that doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And that's why they would like the state education department, they would like the New York State legislature, the senators, the assembly members, to pass this new bill, which would allow a monitor with veto power who could take action.
But Steve, we have a good argument for a monitor with veto power. Cependant, I know for a fact that if one proposé ça dans la législature, it failed. So what are the chances now pour réussir pour un monitor avec veto power?
So
granted, I said you have a case. Because sometimes politics gets into it, and that's where the problem is.
One of the things you never know. It's with some things you never know. So you ask for chances. You know, I'm not a bookie. You know.
Okay, I understand.
But I can say that it's a 2-year cycle in the New York State government. So when a bill is proposed, it doesn't just die after 1 year. It still stays alive for the 2nd year. So last year, we had the report from the first investigation, a guy named Greenberg. So Greenberg TV.
I remember Hank Greenberg pretty well.
Il passé quelques mois dans le district et puis il fini, il bail recommandation c'est au monitor with veto power. C'est pas nous-mêmes qui mandons ça, c'est lui-même qui vient faire investigation ça.
I remember that he issued a very detailed report.
Yeah, nous t'avons demandé pour your detail for them to démissionner bord la net. C'est ça nous demandons nous-mêmes. Okay. Mais il n'a pas dit démissionner bord là. Il dit quitter bord là, j'en lié, mais mettons un monde qui a monitor avec veto power sous bord là, pour si on fait un bagage qui pas d'intérêt le petit monde dans l'école publique là, pour le capable contrarier ça immédiatement. Bon exemple. Yo tap fait un bagage yo tap fait que New York State Education Department yo dit c'est illégal. Il prend 5 ans pour yo faire arrêter ça y a fait. Pendant 5 ans ça yo quelques millions de dollars qui perdent qui étaient supposés payer pour faire. So New York State déjà a le pouvoir pour faire, pour corriger, mais monitor veto power est capable de retirer le même moment où il fait mauvaise décision.
Et puis tu as less waste. Okay.
Yes. Et puis chaque année qui perdit dans l'avion tout le monde sont année ou pas capable de joindre pas capable.
Pas récupérer.
So peut-être n'a demandé so Greenberg est venu il a recommandation et puis bill là il pas passé il y a un sénateur seulement qui bloque elle.
Flanagan, OK.
Et puis qu'on est là nous avons l'autre moniteur qui vient Walcott. Et pas seulement un monde c'est lié deux autres experts avec. Et puis yo n'a tant rapport nous pas connait qui ça monde ça a dit. Nous Walcott vini nous anti gêné nous pas connait qui gens et puis li very friendly with the board. C'est bons amis président school board avec tout le monde qui est membre de school board. So we're waiting for his report. And when his report came out, when Walcott's report came out, and he said, yes, a monitor with veto power. Here you have, falling right behind it, 2 experts. 4 experts, 2
so
studies,
going back to Dennis Walcott,
1 conclusion.
People may realize that Dennis Walcott was the Commissioner of Education for New York City for a number of years.
That's right.
Let us faire comparaison on transportation costs. He should know. He knows better than most, but because he's been there. I think Dennis spent something like at least 5 or 6 years as the Commissioner of Education, reporting to the mayor. So going back to him now, he requested monetary veto powers.
That's right.
So we're working on how much time before we know that whether or not we'll get that monitor that we're looking for.
The legislative session ends in June. So we have from now till June.
To June, okay.
And really, you know, we need to get it sooner rather than later. We cannot be waiting to the last minute. Last year, they came up with a last minute surprise, an 11th hour surprise, a kind of a bait and switch. Okay. So we were all waiting to pass the monitor with veto power, and at the last minute, when it was like 1 minute before the bill could be put in, they said, oh, how about this one instead?
So how much help are we getting from the local politicians, assembly, state senators, things of that nature?
So this bill was written by our local assembly members, Ellen Jaffe, Ken Zebrowski, David Carlucci. The 3 of them together worked on the bill to produce the bill, presented the bill. It's sponsored in the assembly by Jaffe and Zebrowski, as well as many others. There were, you know, dozens of sponsors. In the Senate, we have Carlucci with maybe 3 or 4 other sponsors in the Senate. As far as how hard are each of them working, you know, I feel like, you know, Ellen Jaffe gave it every ounce of her heart and soul.
I believe so.
I feel like Ken Zebrowski put all of his time and his effort into it. People are still having a question about David Carlucci. I have to be honest. I know he sponsored the bill. I know he says he wants the bill. But when you get to Albany and you get to the other senator's office, the staff will tell you, we don't see him here every day asking us to push this bill through. And he's a very influential member of the Senate. He's also a member of the Independent Democratic Caucus, which is just a small group of senators who controls a balance between the Democrats and the Republicans.
So that alliance have both Republicans and Democrats among them, yeah?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. Well, I'm not 100% sure of the makeup of their alliance, but the position that they occupy is an independent position. So each side, if they don't have enough votes, they have to come to them. So it's a very powerful position.
Okay.
So with that power, we were expecting better results. It was in the Senate that it didn't pass. So, you know, to be honest, to be strictly honest with the situation, they passed it in the Assembly. They did their job.
I remember that.
It passed the Assembly. We had the endorsement of the Black, Puerto Rican, Asian, and Latino caucus. We had the assistance of the leader of the Assembly, his name is Heastie, Assemblymember Heastie. Governor Cuomo had said that he supports our bill and he will sign our bill if it comes to his desk. So we had everything lined up in a row. And when it got to this one guy, Flanagan, from Long Island, he said, I'm not even going to allow it to be considered. Now, remember, Flanagan got his position because the guy who was there before him, Skilos, was arrested for corruption. And so Flanagan stepped into his seat in the middle of the session. We didn't know we'd even be dealing with Flanagan. Very interesting, New York State Senate. Skilos was the 5th majority leader in a row to be indicted for corruption. Got
caught in corruption with his son or something?
That's right, yeah.
Right.
So back to East Ramapo, you know, you asked the big question, you know, what are the chances? You know, and so I can say that going in with 2 reports now instead of 1, going in with, you know, the power of having already passed the Assembly, I feel that our chances this year are better than they were last year.
We have more ammunition.
We have more ammunition, exactly. Exactly. You know, and faut nous pas oublier, ça c'est droit qui moun yon a parlé.
Oh yeah, you're right.
You know?
So listen, you talk about 2015. Now we are in 2016. To be exact, we're in January, the very beginning. So what are the plans for this year?
So we're going to be
besides getting the monitor with the power.
Well, let's look. We have a new superintendent of schools. Her name is Dr. Wortham. And
But she's not permanent, though.
She's an interim, that's right, an interim superintendent of schools.
Okay.
And so for this year, she's given a whole new face, a whole new dynamic to things. You know, one of the things that a superintendent can do if they do their job right is they can inspire people to want to do better. And, you know, quite often I speak with people who are students, people who are teachers, people who are principals. People are enthusiastic because of Dr. Wortham. She brings this kind of a energy like I want it to be. She makes people feel like you count, which we never got that from Dr.
She had a reputation, I mean a good one. She had a reputation coming from a troubled school district from somewhere, doesn't she?
So yeah,
I don't remember exactly
It seems
where.
like the last few assignments that she's had, people have brought her into situations where they're
crisis situation.
A crisis situation where it's a turnaround situation.
Okay.
You know, and it seems
I don't
like
recall exactly where, but I heard about it.
there was in Roosevelt, Long Island.
Okay.
In Roosevelt, they had a state takeover of their schools. The state came in.
Yeah, I remember several years ago.
And then when the state came out, she was the first one to come in after the state. So this is her reputation, and we feel confident for 2016. We're looking forward to her proposing that we're going to have full-day kindergarten. We're looking for her proposing that we're going to have more services for students.
You mentioned full-day kindergarten. What do we have now? Do we have half-day kindergarten in some schools, or is it in every school?
We have, right now, they took kindergarten out of the schools.
Oh, you're taking kindergarten net now?
You mette kindergarten non cell côté, qui est Early Childhood Center. So, l'homme te al dans kindergarten moi-même, le petit moi yo te al dans kindergarten, ou fait kindergarten dans même l'école côté ou pas faire first grade.
Okay.
So, ça fait 3-4 ans, yo te changé ça, yo petit mette tout le monde qui dans kindergarten dans Early Childhood Center. Yo ba yo 2 heures et demie. Nous te gagné quelques qui gagne 2 heures et demie, quelques qui toute journée à, qu'on y a là tout net c'est 2 heures et demie.
2 heures et demie, okay.
So, année ça m'quoi yo te mette une classe back qui gagne full day.
So what's the excuse for not having a full day?
L'argent.
Okay.
Yo dit l'argent a pas compte. But you know, that's
so the infrastructure, is there any work being done to improve the infrastructure? Because I've read a play of a classroom where the roof is leaking, things of that nature. Have they made any repair to those buildings, those structures? Yeah.
So I'm not someone who would be aware of every single repair job that's made in the district.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
But I can say, you know, I have heard, you know, that they've been in to fix some roofing. The roofing is still leaking. Okay. You know, that, you know, there still continues to be problems. The monitor has discovered extra money to fix the problems, okay. But we haven't seen the kind of progress that we would like to see. A big part of that is the state has said, because the money has been misspent in the past, they're not going to give any more money to East Ramapo until East Ramapo accepts to have this monitor with veto power.
Okay.
So that money is necessary to fix the schools. That money is necessary for the new roofs and the new boilers. But they want to make sure the
money is well managed.
Is they want to make sure it's well managed. In the past, what have we had? They take the money from the state, they fix up Hillcrest Elementary School, and the next thing you know, they're selling it off. So a monitor with veto power would mean if they were to put another school up on the selling block, like that, the monitor could say, no, this is not benefiting the students. So now we can have confidence. Let's fix this school. It's not being fixed up just to be given away for pennies on the dollar.
So we are in a catch-22 situation here. If you don't have a monitor, then therefore you don't get the money.
Well, it's not exactly a catch-22. A catch-22 would be that if you don't have the monitor, you can't get the money, and if you can't get the money, you can't get the monitor.
Okay.
But in this case, it's just one straight situation. If you can't get the monitor, you can't get the money. The people on the school board are saying that, you know, they need money, and yet they're still resisting the monitor. You know, if they were to, if this school board, if this East Ramapo School Board was to say, we're willing to accept a monitor with veto power tomorrow, then the day after tomorrow, the state would turn around and put those funds in to make sure that we had. If you don't get the monitor with veto power, the state has already told you, you're not going to get that money. So there is no reason.
And money, that's something they've been asking for the longest time, because I think they complain about the aid formula or some sort, whereby they end up getting less money than they should or something like this.
They've been asking for more money since forever, yeah.
But is money a real problem in the district?
Well, you know, money fixes everything. You can't tell me a problem that can't be fixed with more money. Right? Even if I'm dying of cancer today, I'm going to feel better if you give me money.
There could be enough money to get the job done. more money might translate into more waste.
That's why they don't want to give the money.
That's where my question comes from.
Yes, that's why they don't want to give the money, because they've had money in the past that's supposed to be used and it's been misused.
Because putting more money into the system is good as long as the money is spent appropriately.
Right. Look, these guys had their friends who were being challenged in a lawsuit, right? And they hired the fanciest, most expensive lawyers you could hire to defend their friends in a lawsuit.
So there we go.
And then those lawyers overcharged them above and beyond their extraordinary astronomical legal salaries. They overcharged the district by $2 million. This is not me saying it. This is not another activist saying it. This is a judge. It came in front of a judge because they sued their insurance company to get the insurance company to pay this lawyer's bill. And then when the judge got to look at all the detailed, the judge said, wait a minute. He said, the insurance company shouldn't have to give you $2 million. They only did $200,000 worth of work. $2 million bill for $200,000 worth of work. And this is not $2 million out of their own pockets. This is $2 million they're taking from the taxpayers that's supposed to educate their children. Now you can, on what planet can you rob children? I mean, if I go to the local grocery store and I break the window and I take a Snickers bar, I'm going to be in trouble. How can you steal $2 million from children's education and still not be in trouble?
That's a problem.
And this is a judge who looked at these facts and looked at these figures and came out with the report and said, no, they overbilled you by $2 million.
If so much went on in the system, how come nobody is, how do I put it? How come that nobody has been taken to court? Because this is a crime.
Well, actually, the New York State Attorney General's office has indicted and convicted one person so far in the sale of the Hillcrest Elementary School. That was the appraiser who they used for the sale. And that investigation is still ongoing. The Attorney General's office has said there was someone inside the school district who was working together with that appraiser and working together with the private school that made the sale to do that. So yes, someone has been taken to court. Yes, there have been indictments handed down. Yes, there continues to be investigation. But these guys are really good at what they do, and they're really good at not getting caught.
Okay. Well, I don't want to close the segment right now, although time is running out. But I have one last question for you. Did I hear about parents groups suing the New York State Department of Education?
That's right. That's the.
Can you fill us in kind of?
Okay.
Give us some details, so to speak.
In the state of New York, education is not a privilege. Education is not an opportunity. It's a right. It's your right, just like your right to free speech, just like your right to go and vote. It's your right. And so the state of New York is obliged to make sure that right exists for every single child. So when children are not getting the education that's their constitutional right, you as a parent, if it's your child, you have the right to address the state of New York.
So they are suing based on the fact that their civil rights are being violated. Is
That's right.
Correct?
That's
okay.
right. Yeah.
Right. So at what point are we right now?
So this is brand new. This just came out, this year even, maybe the end of last year.
It's recent, yeah.
It's very recent, and so, there's still just the case of, but it wasn't filed.
Is it a specific group of parents, or I don't know? I've read about it.
Quite often with these kinds of class action lawsuits, you find a couple of people to just put their name on it, but it represents the entire group of the parents.
Okay.
And this is coming from the Education Law Center, which is, this is no little group. This is the same group that successfully sued the state of New York over a failure to fund low-income school districts and won in court $5 billion settlement for all schools in the state of New York are entitled to get that money now because of this particular group of lawyers. And so the fact that they've taken this case is huge.
It's huge. It's heavy. So anything else you want to add to the Islamabad struggle? I mean, there's a lot going on.
From just ça c'est pas un bagay moi fait pour tête moi. C'est pas un bagay, c'est son bagay moi travaille avec un monde qui invite me knock on a few doors, make a few telephone calls. Et puis I just get involved like that. But somebody qui pour nous-mêmes parents, pour nous-mêmes citoyens, pour nous-mêmes qui restent dans la zone là, pour tout le monde fait intérêt dans ça. There's nobody who's not affected.
Of course.
So I would like to say thank you to all of those who have worked. There have been many too many to count. Dozens, hundreds, thousands of people. Je ne sais pas si tout le monde est au courant. Islamopol sont parole, en côté qui moun a parlé sur toute la terre qu'on est là. Il y a Australia, Angleterre, millions of people. Il y a plus de gens qui sont au courant de ce qui a passé dans Islamopol parce qu'il y a des gens qui sont dans Islamopol. Et puis, ils sont un topic dans New York State, sont un topic dans United States of America. Et c'est parce que they would not be interested if it wasn't for the fact that we, the parents, we, the local taxpayers, we stood up and claimed our voice. So never be afraid to claim your voice. When it's your right, when it's your family, your children, your house, your community, don't let somebody tell you, you know, you gotta, don't say that, you gotta be quiet.
Scare you.
Stand up for yourself.
D'accord. You play your part. Steve, merci un peu pour venir. C'est un plaisir quand même. Keep up the fight. C'est un plaisir.
Right. Merci pour visite.
Rappelez-moi, j'ai commenté avec moi Steve White, qui est très actif dans la bataille Islamopol. Et c'est une grosse bataille régulière, comme nous avons été soulevés par de questions et de problèmes qui existent dans le district-là. Et pour finir, il faut nous rappeler très bien, comme monsieur dit, que c'est nous tous qui innovons parce qu'un school district qui n'a pas fonctionné bien, l'a affecté nous tous négativement. C'était Michel, Vilson, on a pas un coup de pause. Après, à tout à l'heure.
Président cap descend, moi son président cap monter et président cap descend quand descend plus bagaille toujours. Peuple haïtien, président Haïti pour m'bé. Dans toute la rue, pays me tourne. Des liberté, des faits fierté. Chaque apporte la plus pays me tourne. Poubelle, donc les citadelles, fait pays me tourne. J'étais faca dans toute la rue, pays me tourne. Des liberté, des faits fierté. Chaque apporte la plus pays me tourne. Moi son président poubelle, pour ton président poubelle. Ils sont président poubelle, l'autre après le président poubelle. Moi son président poubelle, pour ton président poubelle. Ils sont président poubelle, l'autre après le président. C'est pas on a pété, oui la vie, mais oubliez nos amitiés. J'ajoute un petit, capata, de matin à midi, si on t'a baissé les bras, la nature bénie. J'ajoute, c'est pas on a pété, oui la vie, mais oubliez nos amitiés. J'ajoute un petit, capata, de matin à midi, si on t'a baissé les bras, la nature bénie. Nos points coups de tête, dans tout ça choisi. Faut que nous suspendons, piquer collé pour payer avancer. Trop longtemps n'a marqué pas sous place. Faut fun pour décoller. Non manger l'argent peuple là, n'a yo dit, c'est yo poubelle. Yo jete projet peuple là, dans poubelle, gen laissé yo poubelle. Moi son président poubelle, ou ton président poubelle. Lui son président poubelle, l'autre après le président poubelle. Moi son président poubelle, ou ton président poubelle. Lui son président poubelle, l'autre après le président poubelle. C'est pas on y a pété, oui la vie, mais oubliez nos amitiés. J'ajoute un petit, capata, de matin à midi, si on t'a baissé les bras, la nature bénie. J'ajoute, c'est pas on y a pété, oui la vie, mais oubliez nos amitiés. J'ajoute un petit, capata, de matin à midi, si on t'a baissé les bras, la nature bénie.
Choupette, poubelle faut à l'école. Assez loi, poubelle faut pas vicier. Président, poubelle pas voler pep.
Pas voler pep non. Pas voler pep. Envie du son. PDG, Moussignac, député Calabel, Rameau, moi c'est Spaghetti Carolina chérie, la pépinière, hôtel. Si moun pas qu'à l'école parce que l'école monte net. Que moun pas qu'à manger la misère à monter net. L'argent là c'est qu'il est américain à monter net. Année passée une propre on jette en la poubelle net. Manager Benny Mediazou, l'école là gay. Voilà Staligaz, c'est ma chérie. C'est désolé mon amour.
Moi foot bouquet, Hélène bouquet, nous pas capable encore. Non, nous pas capable encore. Moi foot bouquet, Hélène bouquet. Alors j'y sais, et me dit ici, c'est Jésus-Christ prédit, n'a fait côté pas bêtise, c'est pas boule. Dans chaîne pas ouais, nous gagne 8 chaînes pas ouais. Moi ma deux j'aime bon côté me aller. Nous toujours moi dem côté me camper. Me camper sous deux pieds. Et ben là examen fini.